Good morning, students. Before I proceed to my discussion for today's lesson, let me introduce myself first. I am Mary Grace Yanok, your instructor for NSTP 2, and so for today's synchronous session, I am going to tackle the importance of securing family and preparing for a response. So let's jump right into it. So lesson 3, securing family and preparing for response. In this lesson, I am going to discuss 3 topics in which include first, the importance of family preparedness, second, the family disaster plan, and the third or the last one is the disaster preparedness kit. So let's continue and discuss our first topic, which is the family preparedness. Extreme weather, natural disasters, chemical exposure, or just an unfortunate event, there is an endless list of emergencies that we could find ourselves in. But the question is, how should we prepare for the worst? Or how should your family prepare for the worst? The importance of family preparedness. As we all know, disasters can strike at any moment with little notice. If disaster strikes, how would you and your family be prepared? Little actions taken in the initial moments of an emergency could be crucial to survival. In today's ever-changing climate, we never know exactly what emergencies could be around the corner, and so the key is to be prepared for the unknown. So how would you and your family survive? For example, if access to amenities cease to exist tomorrow, should a crisis occur, or how would you access clean, safe drinking water or even food for each member of your family? Human life can only last for 3 days without water, so having an emergency backup isn't just a nicety, but an essential for survival of your family. So family and community preparedness planning is very important because it can enhance community readiness or family readiness and reduce the impact of disaster by expediting recovery in the aftermath of unpreventable catastrophes. So next slide. So our next topic is family disaster plan. To protect your family or your home, it is important to be prepared and have a plan in place. The family preparedness plan contains 4 steps that families should take to be ready for any disaster. And so let's continue and find out the first step. So the first step is identify the hazards. So in these steps, we have 5 bullets. The first bullet states here that identify what types of disasters are most likely to happen in your area and learn about how to prepare for each. So the first thing your family is going to do is to list the types of disaster that are usually common to occur in your community, and then learn how your family can be prepared against that particular disaster. For example, if your community is affected by landslide and flooding, then your family must know how to prepare and what to do if landslide and flooding will occur someday or even tomorrow. So the next bullet states here that learn about your community warning systems and signals, such as sirens, text messages, and etc. Each your family members must know your community warning systems and signals, such as their automatic text messages if they are giving a warning about what disaster is likely to happen or what your family must do in that short time. The third bullet states here that instead of purchasing an ordinary radio, they suggested purchasing the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Weather Radio. That's because this radio gives a news forecast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It even broadcasts official warnings, advisories, and other hazards that may occur. For the fourth bullet, it states here that identify local organizations that perform emergency management and know how to contact them. So it is better if each member of your family memorizes or has a copy of the contact number of at least 2 emergency managers. In this way, if ever one of your family members has an injury and needs immediate care, you can easily contact them. For the last bullet, it states here that educate yourself on any disaster plans. Wherever you are, with or without your family, always educate yourself and remind yourself about disaster plans. So let's continue to our second step, which is to hold a family meeting. So we have here a 8 bullets, which is the first one is meet with your family to discuss why it is important to be prepared. As the one who is more knowledgeable about family preparedness or family disaster planning, before you proceed to make a disaster plan, it is very important to let each member of your family know why it is important for all of you to be prepared in case of any disaster that can occur unexpectedly. The second one states here that review the types of disaster that are most likely to occur and explain what to do in each situation. So in the first step, you're already done listing the types of disaster that are common in your community. Here in this step, review those types of disaster together with your whole family and share your knowledge on what to do in each situation. The third bullet states here that assign responsibilities to each family member and plan to work together as a team. Building teamwork together with your family is very important. Even though each your family members has its designated responsibilities and planning, it is better if all your family members can work together and understand one another. That way, your family's chance of survival is higher if there is ever an unexpected disaster. The fourth one is decide on locations where you will meet in case of a disaster strikes, such as outside your home and neighborhood in case of a sudden emergency, such as earthquake or fire. Or outside your city in case you cannot return home. The fifth bullet states here, if a family member is in the military or frequently away from home, which is he or she is working, plan how you will respond if he or she is away when a disaster strikes. For the sixth bullet, it states here that document how your family will communicate if a disaster strikes and create a family communications plan. there is a big possibility that at least one or two of your family members are not at home if a disaster strikes. So it is better if you can also plan on how you can contact them or each one of them in case of emergencies. The next one, if anyone in your family has a disability or special needs, adjust your plan accordingly. Always be considerate about your family members who have a disability or special needs. For the last bullet, it states here that be sure to include your family pets in your plan. This only applies to those family who take care of pets as their family. Don't even think of leaving your pets behind, as they also have feelings and that disaster might kill them. So let's continue to our third step rather, which is the prepare. So the first bullet here states that assemble a disaster supply kit, which is the disaster preparedness kit. So I am going to discuss this disaster supply kit further later. The second one is locate safe places in your home for each type of disaster. The third bullet here states that determine the best evacuation routes from your home. In preparing for your family, your family must know where the best evacuation site is and its route from your home, in case your family must evacuate that day or tomorrow after the disaster occurs. The next bullet states here that become trained in first aid and CPR. If possible, let the adults of your family learn and be trained in first aid and CPR, because we didn't know what might happen and the rescuers are having difficulty arriving right on time. It is better to do something than become useless. So, the next bullet here states that show each family member how and where to shut off utilities. Applicable to each adult of your family members, it is better if they know where they can shut off the water, electricity, and gas if an unexpected disaster might occur. For the next bullet, make a complete inventory of your home and property. If it's necessary to evacuate and leave your house behind, always make sure you remember what are the things inside of your house and lock them safely before leaving together with your whole family. For the next bullet, it states here that teach each family member how to use a fire extinguisher and where to find one. If you have one inside your house, let your family member know how to use it and where they can find it inside of your house. For the last bullet in this step, it states here that post emergency contacts on the refrigerator, which family member can see easily or can notice easily. Not everyone in your family can memorize easily, so it's better if the contact numbers of emergency departments are posted on the refrigerator, such as how to contact in case of emergency like police, fire, family, etc. So let's continue to our fourth step is practice your plan. So we have here 4 bullets. The first one states that practice your plan with your family regularly. If possible, every 6 months, so that everyone can always be reminded and that they will never forget what to do in the actual scenario of disaster. It is also better to practice so that each member of your family doesn't panic if a disaster occurs. The next one is check your disaster supply kit every 3 months. The third one is replace stored water and food every 3 months. The fourth one is update any emergency contact info as changes occur. Always check any changes in contact info of an emergency, whether on their Facebook page or their station. So let's continue to our next topic, which is the disaster preparedness kit. It is important to remember that in some instances, the crisis could be over within hours or days, but unfortunately, there could be situations that occur for a much longer period, and so your family need to think through all possible emergencies when preparing to ensure ultimate survival. That's why your family must have this disaster kit prepared for each disaster. So let's jump right into it. Disaster preparedness kit. Emergency prepping should be treated seriously, and an emergency survival kit is a key to ensuring that not only are you prepared to run out the door when disaster strikes, but all your essential items are packed up and at your aid, enabling you to be best respond to any given situation. A well thought out exit plan should also form part of any prep work, giving you an element of control in an uncontrollable situation and allowing you to best ensure your family's safety. So preparing for 3 or more days without food, water, or shelter is highly important when making preparations for emergency water sources. Be aware of expiration dates with stored water, which is recommended to be stored in food grade containers for no longer than 6 months at a time. It's also important that when accessing a found water source, a tried and testified water filter. So according to 2009 Citizen Corps National Survey, 57% of individuals reported having supplies set aside in their home to be used only in the case of disaster. The most frequently mentioned supplies that participants noted were food and water, with 74% noting that they had a supply of packaged food and 71% noting that they had bottled water. Fewer respondents mentioned other essential supplies such as a flashlight, which garnered 42%, first aid kit, which garnered 39%, or portable radio, which garnered 20%. In addition, only 44% of respondents mentioned that they updated their kits on an annual basis. So let's continue. So we have here the examples of disaster kit. So the first one is water. 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days for drinking and sanitation. The next one is food. At least a 3-day supply of non-perishable food. The third one is first aid kit in case of emergencies. The fourth one is whistle to signal for help. The next one is dust mask to help filter contaminated air, and plastic sheeting and duct tape to shelter in place. The sixth one is moist towels, garbage bags, and plastic ties for personal sanitation. The next one is wrench or pliers to turn off utilities. The second one is manual can opener for food. The next one is local maps, cell phone with chargers, inverter or solar charge. The next one is battery powered or hand rack radio, and a NOA, a weather radio with phone alert and extra batteries for both. And the last one is flashlight and extra batteries. So those are the examples of disaster kit. Additional supplies may include pet food if your family have pets, dogs or cats, prescription medication if one of your family member needs have daily medication to take, and important family documents of each member of your family, and an infant formula if your family have a baby. Being educated about disasters and how they affect youth and adults, developing a plan, practicing the implementation of the plan in authentic and organized ways, and ensuring you have the supplies to support your family in the event of an emergency is a crucial part of a disaster preparedness for each family. Research suggests that preparation and practice will likely result in better success during the event of an actual emergency. So that's all for today's synchronous session. I hope you did learn and acquire some knowledge about securing family and preparing for a response, as well as how important for each family to be prepared for the upcoming disasters that may occur someday or even tomorrow. So, thank you for listening and for paying attention, as well as for participating in today's synchronous session. Have a great day ahead, everyone. Goodbye.